Good morning, everyone. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Melissa with Balanced Hairstylist. I've been a hairstylist for going on 15 years. I've owned a salon, and I've kind of been through all the ups and downs. We're trying to on here. We're having some technical issues this morning. Staffing, hiring systems, how to find the right people, how to vet the right people, how to systemize it so that it's not so much work. Oh, we're just gonna hang out here for a second and see if she can get on. Just so you guys are aware, we are trying to get all of this stuff up on YouTube as well. So if you are here on YouTube catching the replay, first, make sure you subscribe to YouTube. Second, make sure you go and join our Balanced Hairstylist community on Facebook. This is where you're going to be able to access these lives live. So that you can ask questions, you can come on. We are currently accepting applications for visitors and guests. Hey, Amy. It does not have an invite button to let you on here, though. Is there a button on your end that like lets you request to join? AJ. Technology is so amazing when it works. I'm trying to see. Okay. Yeah, because every time I tried to accept you, it just kept saying that like I don't have the authority basically to. I'm trying to figure out how to like stream it from the computer for next time, but it's like also not letting me. I don't see anything where I can request to join. Oh no, you got up at 5 a.m. and you're not even gonna be able to get you on. Can you change the setting on your phone? Because like I'm sitting here like looking at my computer. I'm like, I don't even know how to get on from my computer. It wants like streaming keys, and I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Streaming software. Technology. I think I'm gonna look into like StreamYard or something later today. I was looking at a different one and it wasn't working. But I live stream from my Facebook page every single morning too for the salon. So I'm like, I gotta figure out how to do this more effectively. I tried to look into my settings. I'm public. What the F? I wonder if I could do it from the page versus the group and just tell everyone like, hey, we're doing this from the page today. Or we could try and do it from Instagram. I'm going to try and invite you from my Instagram. We'll try and do it from there, and then we'll just repurpose it into this group after. So hang tight. I'll try and go over to Instagram to see if we can do it from there. Do you think that would work better? I can't get into any of my socials. Yeah, but can you not like turn that setting off on your phone temporarily or no? Or I mean, I can ask you questions and you can type responses in the text, which I know is not ideal. Ooh, I have an idea. Okay. You can phone though, right? Like, why don't you call my Zoom phone number, and then I'll like audio, like I'll have my computer right beside the phone, and then they could at least hear you. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so I'm going to, okay, so phone number is 506. Hang on, I gotta figure out how to get this up on my computer though. So 506 800 1777. And then hopefully when you call, it doesn't fuck up my live stream. We're just going with the flow. So 506 800 1777. Maybe this means maybe this is just like that omen that I should move the lives later in the day. Let's try this. Hello?
I'm so sorry. I think I covered that number.
No, this is Amy, right?
Yes, it is.
It's Mel.
Oh, weird. You're lagging.
It's because I'm on Zoom, right? So it's a VoIP phone line.
Okay, no problem. It's just lagging on the computer.
So maybe this is not.
So I got confused. So I'm like, oh my god, I just called someone so early.
Wakey, wakey.
Wakey. I'm like, who's going to answer at this hour? I'm just going to grab my charger.
Okay.
Sorry, I have a goal this year to get off my social, so...
No, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's good, and I usually get to the gym at about 6, so it's perfect because that's when my socials, like, open back up, but, yeah, usually I can see live and stuff on my laptop, so I'm not too sure what happened, but
I don't know.
That's okay.
That's okay. Hopefully people can hear you, but it is what it is if they can't.
It is what it is. Good morning. How are you?
I am good. How are you? How have you been?
I'm good. Everything's been really good. It's been busy. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a sales rep. So I'm a sales rep here in Alberta, and it's just always crazy busy, which is great.
Awesome. And what type of stuff are you selling? Is there anything that you can support these guys with?
Yeah, we sell lots of brands in Western Canada. There are some brands that we do sell over in Toronto. I don't know if we go all the way to Nova Scotia, but you have people from all over in your group, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. So depending on where you are as a distributor, there are lots of rules and regulations. So, for example, we only have rights to sell Kevin Murphy in the prairies and Canada, but then in places like the Yukon, we are able to sell some of our brands. So if anyone wants to check us out, internationalbeauty.ca, and we have tons of good stuff there.
Awesome. And this is totally a conversation for another day, but if a stylist were to try and get into retail, and this is totally off the topic, who would they contact about trying to get it into distribution? Like, would it be you or somebody else?
You know what? That's a great question. So if somebody is looking to get into selling retail, the best bet is to work with your local distributor. So finding out what brand you want to carry, or just even contacting a distributor and asking to work with a rep is a really good idea. I think there's like such a connotation around sales reps where people think they're really pushy or they're just trying to get money, which is true in some cases for sure. But a lot of sales reps are more so business consultants, so they can really help you make money behind the chair and have a good brand and retail that actually work for you. So I definitely recommend working with a sales rep. It definitely was really beneficial when I was behind the chair, and I love making sure my clients see the benefit that way too.
Awesome. So I'm going to dive right into those questions that I had sent you just because we're coming up on 8:44 and I want to respect your time.
Of course.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about hiring, recruiting. I know it's like the breaking point for a lot of people in the industry, whether they're a salon owner or they're independent, they're commission, and they're trying to start to scale. What do you think the biggest mindset shift for stylists or salon owners that they really need to make before it comes down to hiring?
That's a great question. I think the biggest thing is if people, let's start with the salon owner. The salon owner really needs to identify who they are not as the individual, but as a salon. What is their culture? What is their team? What is their mission statement? What are things that they actually want to be known for? And really stay true to that before just hiring anybody. I think what happens is people open salons with a vision in mind, but because they struggle recruiting, they'll just take on any talent, which kind of steers them away from who they wanted to be as a business. And that can really honestly hurt the business. And I've seen businesses close because of that. And then on the vice versa, I think stylists really need to define, where they want to go in their career. I think when they get out of school, I definitely believe just getting any job, not any job I should say, but a job, it's hard to get a job out of school, but I think stylists need to identify, what brands do they want to be affiliated with, what type of branding in salons, what type of education do they want? Do they want to grow their career where they can, become a salon owner one day, or are they happy working in a chain salon and they're just busting clients down the door in a day? So it just really depends what you're looking for, but I think people are just, I don't want to say desperate to hire and desperate to find work, but it is tricky right now. Times are tough for sure.
Yeah. I love that because, I remember when I first left school, it was I was desperate to hire, to get a job, right? So I worked in some really crappy salons, and I was like, oh, this is just, how it is. And one of those salons, the wife's husband was actually sexually harassing me the entire year that I was there.
My God.
Yeah, it was brutal. He would just make all these offhanded comments. And then she actually fired me. And I'm a young girl at this point. I've got no confidence. I'm terrified. I don't want to, I'm just trying to do the best job that I can because nobody's willing to give me a chance. And I'm I find so many stylists, they kind of compromise their values based on that. But yeah, and I think that's partially on the schools. And again, this is my opinion, but the schools do not set us up for success. They give us a technical skill, but they give us no sense of mindset work or business development. I'm even as an independent or commission-based stylist, you own your own fucking business, right? And it's really important to have those values in mind because it's do you want to work at a First Choice and be cutting 45 different heads of hair a day and it's go, 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 go? Or do you want to take 2 clients and charge $1,500 a day? Right? And I think
absolutely
there's not enough conversation around there's 2 sides of the industry, right? There's luxury and then there's, everyday mom and pop shop, right? And I think it really comes down to what do you want from life and how much money do you want to make? And this is not something schools teach us, right? I now, after a decade in the industry, make minimum $1,500 a day. But I remember coming out of school, I was struggling to make $400 and I was busting my ass all day. And I think it's really important to know that comes down to where do you do your training?
Yes, it's so true. I always tell people that finding a job or finding staff is like dating. This is the biggest decision you're going to make. I joke that it's your marriage. And I think it's very true because if you're in the wrong relationship, you're not going to grow and get where you need to be. Same if you're in the wrong job, you're not going to grow and get where you want to go.
Yeah.
And I think there's so many things that people don't pay attention to when hiring or when finding work that leads you to making $400 a day versus the $1,500 a day.
Yeah. And I think it's also important to realize depending on where you are in your career, it's you don't per se have to hire a stylist. I just hired a personal assistant. Nowhere does she do hair, but that's just as powerful for me as hiring a stylist, right? And I think a lot of people give up the income generation role too quickly. And it's then they get stuck doing the busy stuff. But it's well, if you're bringing on staff and they maybe don't have the same sales skills as you or the mindset or whatever, it's you're actually doing your business a disservice by hiring too quickly. And it's whether and again, it depends state to state and province to province on licensing and everything, but it's what are your goals in your business, right? Do you want, where are you trying to grow? Where are you trying to go? Right. And what do you think your thought is, when is it actually time to hire? Or are you just or when is it you're just overwhelmed?
It's a great question. I always say if you have a chair that's empty during your day, even if it's for a couple hours, that's when you need to hire. If you believe a chair should be full all day, every day. And I think a lot of salon owners aren't realizing that is costing them so much money to have a chair sitting there for hours empty. So I say if there's a chair open, hire.
Yeah.
There's always opportunity. Or if, you are struggling to make sure you're getting all your clients in. I do see the flip side, however, where people overhire and they don't have the client attraction that they need.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother kind of work there. But I always tell people too, you know, you want to hire slow and fire fast. That's such an age-old saying, but I think it is so true. And being very mindful of who you hire and being very mindful, obviously, of where you apply. But I think you're so right. There's a lot of other things we can hire for. Social media managers, virtual assistants, you know, there's so many client attraction programs out there. There's so many things you can use that can better suit your business, and it doesn't mean they need to be necessarily doing hair too.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think we're in an industry where we're very blessed that there's so many different models that we can hire, right? Like if the cash flow isn't there, but the chair's open, it's like, well, maybe you look at renting out that chair, or you look at commission, or you look at hourly, right? Like we have so many different ways, and it's about like being able to pivot, find the right person, and make it make sense, and have a relationship with that person that you have hired, and have that open and honest conversation about like, okay, if this happens, this is going to happen. If this happens, this is going to happen, right? And making it a partnership, not just a, you know, you're my employee situation too, right? Like it's got to be win-win. And I think our industry is getting better for it. But like back in the day, it was so cutthroat where people were like, oh, you know, I'm the boss, you're the assistant. And like, thankfully we're getting away from that, right?
Yeah, it's so much better.
Yeah. Now, what do you think key traits or red flags to look out for the interview process are?
I think there's lots. I think the biggest thing that I see is salon owners not being transparent on pay, not being transparent on hours, I think is a huge thing, especially if you're hourly. I think salon owners can be very sneaky when it says, hey, we're going to give you all these classes, all these programs, you know, all this training, and then you don't actually see it. I think just lack of transparency is a big thing. Or if someone's like, hey, yeah, you're applying, I'll hire you. Again, I joke about like dating. Like if you went on an app, you swiped on a guy who's like, yeah, I'll be your boyfriend tonight. Kind of a red flag. Like you got to get to know each other a little bit more before you dive in. So
you're like, this girl's got a goal. She's not paying for dinner.
Yeah, right? I'm like, give it a minute, you know? And I think it goes both ways. And I think, too, if you are hiring, and, I mean, social media is so important. And if you're my client, you know, I talk about it all the time. But, you know, I went to Marvell College, which is our biggest college out here in Alberta, and that's where I went. MC College is the name now, and they actually just celebrated their 100th year, which is incredible. But we had a round table there this summer, and all of us were salon owners, sales reps, barbershop owners, a couple independent suite owners, so just people that are hiring. Mm-hmm. And all of them across the table said, I don't even care about a resume. I just want to see your social, how you show up online, and a couple pieces of your work.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's a big thing. I think when people come into the interview, you know, looking their best, or sometimes I see people coming into the interview wearing, you know, the trending sweatsuit or the trending, you know, long sleeve, big t-shirt and, you know, leggings, which, you know, is cool, sure, but people are becoming so casual in this industry too that I think it's tricky when you're trying to keep your business luxury, and then people are coming in, you know, streetwear. So there's lots of things to look for, red flags both ways.
Yeah. Well, I love that you said that too, because I remember back in the day, there was a girl that I was looking at interviewing, and she was a friend of a friend, and she actually did not live in our area, but she was like staying with this friend of a friend. And I remember her response was, well, I don't have anything to wear. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to hire you, because right there, that's a huge red flag that you can't figure out how to get an outfit, right? Like,
yeah, you know what? That's something the school talks about a lot, and they actually do like a day of showing people how to thrift. You know, go to Plato's Closet, go to Value Village, like clothing swaps, like.
Yeah, but I was like, literally, just ask her to borrow something. Like, it's like if you can't solve that minuscule problem, how are you going to be able to solve any of the day-to-day problems? Because, like, for me, when I hire somebody, I'm like, you need to be a thinker. Like, you need to be able to figure out how to get shit done, because I'm not here to hold your hand, right? Like, and I think that's where, like, we need to also give our staff autonomy and give them the freedom to solve problems, whether that be, like, we give them a budget or we give them whatever. But I'm like, if you can't figure out how to get an interview outfit, like, we're going to have some serious problems, because clearly you're not, you know.
Totally. I love how you talked about that budget. That's something that I suggest my salons work with their staff too. Not sure, have you ever served before or like were a waitress?
No.
Okay, so often I used to serve, they give you like a budget where you're able to, you know, comp a dessert or add a free drink or appetizer, whatever you want to call it. And
Yeah.
you have a little bit of a budget. As a sales rep, I also have a promo budget.
Okay.
And I think it's great for stylists to be able to have a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah.
So if they're trying to, you know, sell someone on a color and then say, hey, why don't I gloss you today? This is a introductory to it. Just so you could try it out, or, you know, let's give you a mask. Or maybe they made a mistake and they needed to, you know, give something away. I think there's lots of ways but that again is a whole nother topic too.
Yeah, right. We could go on for hours and hours, but I don't know if you know who Dan Martell is, but he's like this big Instagram guy and he's a business development guy. And he's like, I have different positions. Like my, you know, assistant manager has this budget, my manager has this budget, my CEO has this budget. And it's like, if this is a problem that can be solved for under this amount, you just figure out how to do it. I don't care what you do, just send me a receipt. He's like, I don't want to be bothered with these minuscule problems. And I think it's important for like us to also like realize we can run our salons that way too, right? Like it's a business.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's why independence leads. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Some people want to go independent because they want to have more autonomy in their business and be able to make decisions, and then they can't because micromanagement. But sorry, I know you're running because you have an appointment coming.
That's okay. So the last question that I have for you too is like, where, in your opinion, should people start to like look for quality assistants, booth runners, personal assistants? Like, where is the best place to go?
There's a couple really good options. Number one, I would say Dighty. It's a new job hiring platform for the beauty industry.
Okay.
A coworker of mine actually created it. It's incredible. It is free right now to use, but they have so many jobs. They have lots of education, so that's a really good option. So that's Dighty.ca, and it is a global website, so not just Canadian.
Okay.
And then I also think working with your distributor, again, I'm just going to say that, but we see so many people a day. So I see 120 clients in my schedule. Obviously not a day, but I have access to. So I'm able to talk to a lot of people. I know kind of what's happening. I know who's looking. I know who's closing down. For example, I just had a salon of mine close down, and there were 6 staff, and I've actually been able to place 4 of them in jobs. And I think people don't utilize their reps enough. And then I also think Facebook groups are great. Mm-hmm. I hate to see a business posting now hiring all the time. Yeah. If you're hiring, pin it as a post. But if you're constantly posting, I'm hiring, looking for staff, it just makes you look desperate. And I think it makes people wonder what's going on in your business.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the most underutilized spots too is actually your clientele. Yeah. Again, and this depends state by state and license board by license board, but like when I was in Ontario, I ran like an apprenticeship salon. Like 8 out of 10 of my girls were apprentices, and that's how we like ran. And then one would get licensed, and then we would apprentice more. And I found that like because you know your clients, right? You know their values, you know their morals, and I found the girls that you bring in from ground floor, they're eager. They have this like fire under their ass. And again, like if they don't have the technical skills, you put them at the desk. You have them, be your task rabbit, and then they slowly learn the industry and they go to school at the same time. But again, I think personal assistants are the most underutilized thing in our industry. Like for somebody to be able to go get my towels, answer my phone calls, like post on my social media. And when I say a personal assistant, I don't mean like somebody that's just going to do stuff in the salon. I mean somebody that you're going to hire to take care of your life too, right? Like having them go do your laundry at home, having them go do all this. Because if you could open up that extra time in your day where you as a stylist start, say, charging $125 to $200 an hour behind that chair, and you can hire somebody for $18 an hour to go do this stuff, like, why are you not doing it? And I see so many people that are like, oh, I'm not going to have an assistant. I'm like, what? The fuck not? Like, you're losing money, right? Like, you can't answer your phone while you're cutting hair and post on social media and answer your emails and then do your laundry and then make your dinner. Like, how much more free time would you have in a day if you just had that one person that was literally, like, following you around, being like, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? Right?
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah. You can train anyone to do anything, but you can't train them to be a good person. And I think that's really what it comes down to is like you said at the beginning, looking at the values, looking at the culture, making sure it's a good match. Like I just hired a personal assistant and like I trust her enough that I'll be like, here, go get my kid. right? And I
Yeah,
think
which
that's
is
super
amazing.
important,
Yeah.
right? Because we get trapped in an industry too. Like if life happens, we can't just like be like, oh, gotta go, right? So you need to have that person that you do trust to be able to pick up the pieces when you can't. You're not walking away from
Yeah.
bleach on head.
It's so true. Absolutely. Now I know we're at, which is 6 o'clock my time. I think it's 9 o'clock your time.
Yep. I was just gonna say, we gotta wrap this up.
Okay, well, if anyone ever has any questions for me, you can reach out to me at Amy Johnson Pro. And if you're looking to hire, check out Diety Beauty on Instagram. Those are the two handles you guys can check out.
Perfect. So when I get this back up onto YouTube, I will make sure that I put all that info there as well. So if you can just send that to me through a text, and then I'll make sure that all the info goes up correctly. And then if you also want to leave a post like inside of our community, just letting them know like, hey, I was just on this live. This is where you can find me, like that kind of stuff. Just that way I don't muck it up on you.
Yeah, awesome. I will. Have a wonderful day, and thank you so much, Melissa.
Yeah, thank you for getting out of bed at 5 a.m. for us.
No problem.
All right.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.